Would you rather everybody think you're a bad person, but you're really a good person? Or everybody think that you're a great person, but you're really a shitty person?
How you doing today? It's just another day. I don't think so.
It's not.
No. You don't think so?
Today's pretty special.
I think so. Why is it special though?
Because we hit 1,000 subscribers. Yeah. Thank you guys. This has been a journey. We started, two best friends started back in March, and then it grew. We added friends and family. It's only up from here. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you guys for the views. And look forward to continuing to making the content for you.
And today is also special because not only did we just hit 1,000 subscribers today, but it is also our little sister's birthday. So happy birthday to you, Ruby. We love you.
Yeah. And more importantly, now for those of y'all that don't know Ruby, those thumbnails that you guys see on every single video, Ruby is responsible for that. So she is our creative director. So she has definitely been part of the Squabble since day one. So everybody spam happy birthday in the comments. If you don't say anything for any of the rest of my videos ever in life, everybody wish my sister a happy birthday in the comments right now. You too. You too. I'm serious. We'll wait.
I don't think they did it yet.
They didn't. I see them. That person typed it, but they just didn't press send.
Mm-hmm. And this one over here just looking at it, thinking that we're going to move on.
Come on, yeah, I gotta lock in for real.
Yeah, facts. Thank you.
All right, so today, because it is so special, we have a little surprise for you guys. We are going to bring on our very first special guest. One of my close friends, Kiari Mar, will be joining us in today's episode.
Oh yeah, this is gonna be a good one. So you guys know what to do. Keep your minds open and your volumes turned up.
Welcome, Kiari Mar. Big round of applause to our very first special guest. Thank you so much for joining the set.
Thank you.
We are so pleased to have you and are looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
Well, thank y'all so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys sharing your space and your time. Yes, thank you. I'm excited and nervous as hell. And nervous.
Nothing to be nervous about. So, you want to give us a little information about yourself, or the viewers a little before we jump straight into it?
Sure. I'm Kiari Mar. Just a mom of two, a wife, and that's about it. I'm an aspiring business owner. So yeah, I'm just out here living life, trying to do the best I can, and navigating through it all, and not losing my mind. So that's the best part. So yeah.
So the results are in from last week's Would You Rather. The question, in case everyone forgot, was would you rather have a fully stocked fridge or a full tank of gas? The subscribers have answered, and 60% would rather have a full fridge, while the other 40% would rather have a full tank of gas. Kiari Mar, what would you rather have?
I would rather have a full tank of gas. I'm always thinking about tomorrow, not just right now, because when that food runs out, you have nothing else to eat. With a full tank of gas, I can get to work, I can do Grubhub, I can do whatever. I can make me some money so I can get a better meal possibly than what I had in my fridge already.
That's fair. So what I said last week, I took into account not only the cost of it, but also how many people we have. We currently have 3 people in our household, and we go to the grocery store literally every week, if not twice a week. So I was bringing up the scenario, would you rather spend $35 to $50 for some people on a tank of gas every week, or $150 to $250 every week on groceries?
When you put it like that.
Amen.
And the question was from this day forward, always have a full fridge or always have a full tank, not just like a one-off.
Oh.
Yeah, it
Oh,
wasn't.
my
It wasn't
So
like
it's
a one.
always.
Yeah,
Oh, if
like-
it's gonna be always, then I'll take a
Always.
quarter tank and I'll have the full fridge.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Do you remember your answer? I
I
think you picked gas, but I don't want to.
I picked fridge,
Okay.
but as I get older, start to live life, I'll probably pick that.
Mhm.
Shoot, with the fridge, you can low key like just take some of the groceries out, sell it, put it in the tank, and your fridge is still full because it's always full.
Or cook it, sell a plate.
That part.
You gotta be a good cook to do that.
I believe in
Yeah.
you. I believe in you.
Yeah, you gotta explore outside the air fryer.
What happened with the air fryer?
I am the air fryer.
Yeah, he's the air fryer king.
Really?
Yeah.
Air fryer and microwave.
Really?
Oh, he just stops that 30-second button.
Oh, okay, so there's this new Ninja thing that has like a smoker in it. Man, you need that.
Yes, ma'am.
So if I sound a little quirky, it's because I'm nervous as hell.
I'm
So
okay.
sorry.
I mean, we don't have to jump right into it. If you want, we can just
Really?
That's usually why we do a game first to kind of
Yeah.
like get everybody,
Okay.
and then we jump into the actual topic.
Mhm.
That's
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right.
So this game is called This or That. It's kind of like one has to go, and it's kind of like Would You Rather, but I'm not going to tell you. You guys, when I say the two things, you're either going to put a thumbs up and say your answer and saying you want to keep it, or a thumbs down and say that whatever your answer was, you want to get rid of it. And then we're going to see how alike we think. So
Okay.
Okay.
first example, fruits or vegetables? Vegetables. So that's me saying I want to get rid of vegetables.
fruit.
Fruits.
Vegetables.
So we all said the same thing, but you see how we said it differently?
Yeah.
Because we said get rid of vegetables, we mean keep fruit. Y'all said keep fruit. So
Mm-hmm.
that's the
Okay.
example. So y'all ready?
Yeah.
Ready?
All right. Instagram or Twitter?
Instagram.
Instagram for
Wait,
sure.
So Twitter is up, right?
If you want to keep Twitter, thumbs up. You want to get rid of Twitter?
Hey, IG gotta go. Sorry.
Okay.
Okay, Gen Z.
X has it. I'm sorry. I'm with you.
Driving or be the passenger?
Be the
Be
passenger.
the driver.
Passenger for that.
I'm gonna have to be the driver.
Y'all are such men. I love that for you guys. Passenger princess.
Horror or comedy? Horror.
Or
Comedy.
Ooh, I'm gonna go comedy.
Okay. So you're the odd one out for that one because I think we all said horror in a different
Yeah.
way. Yeah. Video games or board games?
board games.
Board games. If I had to pick one,
The betrayal.
if I had to pick
Board
one,
games are not. I mean, let's.
I'm not a video game person.
now what do you consider? Because the games we have, I don't consider them board games. They're like card games and Uno.
Oh.
Board games are like Monopoly and
Yeah.
Oh,
that's
okay.
why. Yeah.
So video games.
Oh, whoa. You just left me out here by myself?
No, I essentially said the same thing, but
Okay.
I'm still keeping board games, but I don't play video games at all.
I don't either.
So video
Yeah.
games is down.
Okay, cool. Let's, yeah.
Theme parks or water parks?
Theme park.
Theme parks.
Water parks.
Really?
I love a good water park. The Lazy River?
Wait.
Yo.
Wait, you said theme parks.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, so yes.
Nike or Adidas? Adidas. Oh, no.
Nike, boy, you tweaking. Oh,
You just
I'm-
said
I'm-
Nike
oh,
now.
Okay,
I
okay.
should have never corrected you.
No, I'm okay. So y'all,
All
Adidas.
day I dream about sports.
Adidas.
Come on. Perfect teeth or perfect body?
You said
Like-
tea, like drink tea or
Teeth.
Teeth.
Oh,
That one's a little. See, everybody.
I like
I'm
my
sorry. I'm gonna have to be like Cardi. Got a bag and fix my teeth, please.
Ah,
I'll take the
I
body.
say
Thank you.
Perfect body. Actually, I don't know because teeth is one of the first things people notice. Like when
I
it
will
actually-
smile with my mouth
Yeah.
closed.
What's your answer, D? I said perfect body. What's your answer?
perfect body for sure. I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's good.
So this one's a little different. Fairs or theme parks?
Theme park.
Fairs.
I've never been to a fair.
There's
Really?
something about
We gotta get you to a fair.
there's something about those roller coasters being able to pack in the back of a truck
Yeah.
that doesn't
Man.
sit well with
Put
me.
it together in like 20
They be
minutes.
having them on a
Yeah.
backpack. Like,
Yeah. Saturdays or Sundays?
Ooh.
Saturdays.
Yeah, Saturday.
Hey,
Even though
Sunday's
Sunday
football.
is the Lord's day. Something about Sundays like you don't really get to relax because you're like, I gotta work. I
Yeah.
gotta work tomorrow. Saturdays are full
I
at.
love
Gotta go to
Sundays.
bed
Full
at
on
a
I
certain
do
relax.
time.
too. That's my day. I don't do anything on Sundays on purpose.
Me, I love Sundays because of football.
Yeah.
Wait, so why'd you put it down?
I'm just saying, I'm choosing this.
It's the first time we played this game. Would you? Oh, can't tell you. Badly wounded or chronically ill?
Chronically ill.
Badly wounded.
I mean, it doesn't really make sense for me to answer, so.
Yeah,
Chronically ill?
yeah.
You'd rather be chronically ill than badly wounded.
I mean, when you like mentally ill or
It's just ill.
I mean, you can have like fibromyalgia, you could have
Some type of
Graves'
cancer.
disease.
Yeah.
But badly wounded, you could lose a ligament.
Yeah. You could go blind
Yeah.
from being badly bruised or hurt.
why do you choose
But
this?
you gotta pick one. You gotta pick
It's a little
one.
dark.
It went
It's an
easy.
intrusive thought.
It went easy, and then it's starting to get a little deeper. Early bird or night owl?
I thought it was gonna be easy, but I don't
Early
know.
bird.
I don't know.
I'm a bit of both. honestly.
Same.
Gotta
Yeah.
pick one.
I only need like a good 4 hours.
Thumbs up
I'm
for me.
good. If I had to choose taking out work, I probably wouldn't be an early bird. So night owl.
Yeah.
I'm the one with night owl.
Night owl. Call or text? Text.
Call me.
I'm a call guy.
Yeah.
I hated that show, by the way.
Kim Possible?
Yeah.
Wow. You knew the thing.
That was amazing.
I hated it. Oh my god.
Oh man, we can't be
I was an
friends.
Atomic Betty girl.
You know. No ma'am.
I remember that.
No ma'am. Mm-mm.
The Judgment.
You judge me? How did you not like Rufus the Naked Mole Rat?
I'm saying.
Who was that?
I'm saying.
Oh my
That's-
god. Thank
That's
you.
Ron
That was the
Stoppable's
best.
pet.
Yes.
I thought you were naming another show.
No, baby. It was he was my favorite character on that show.
I didn't watch it.
It's all right. We're gonna run that back.
You don't have to.
Bad haircut or bad acne?
Haircut.
I'm with
I
you.
cut my hair all day, baby.
Yeah. We can buy a wig.
That part.
Wait, which one is bad? Which one is bad acting?
You could pick whichever, but if you do a thumbs down, it means you want to get rid of it. If you do thumbs up, that means you'd rather have it.
Oh, I'll get rid of bad acting. I'm just getting used to this clear skin stuff.
what's
Yeah,
up.
yes, sir.
It's lit.
Do y'all want to
My
do
skin's
the
on
mind game?
Yes.
3, 2, 1.
Angel.
Cars and
Okay.
I'm glad I'm not playing this.
I'm kind of nervous. One more time.
I'm ready. Jesus.
3, 2, 1.
Beyonce. Yep. On TV, we did it. There we go.
Videos in a row.
Lovely. There we go.
Oh,
Well, you gotta show the camera that, because I don't think they can see that. Beyonce.
Did y'all ever have imaginary friends when y'all were little?
Unfortunately.
I don't remember.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
You don't remember anything.
That is.
That's a sure sign of like loneliness. Yeah, it is.
Oh yeah, you were only child.
Yeah. No, I'm not an only child. It's just that I was raised by myself. My dad had just me, and his wife had 2 other children. But in her divorce, they went with the father. So, yeah, I was raised by myself. But I have
What does that
siblings.
affect you?
I'm good. I'm great. Lots of therapy later, but I'm great. Oh gosh.
Speaking about how you grew up, was there anything that your dad raised you, any beliefs that you carried over to your 2 sons?
Absolutely.
That you did consciously or that you sometimes catch yourself unconsciously doing?
Yes. I am strict when it comes to a schedule. Like as you saw, when I came here today, I had food already packed for them that I prepared because we eat dinner at a certain time. And if I can control anything, I'm gonna try to control it and keep them on their schedule. But yeah, like it has to be a schedule, just because I feel like structure is always needed. And I always used to say, I'm never gonna be like that when I have kids, because my kids are never. Because I used to think it was just insane how you would want everything to be the same. It's so mundane, right? But now it's like, no, my kids have to have their schedule. I don't really like. We don't go away from our schedule often, and if we do, we're on vacation.
Yeah.
And even then, I'm still like, all right, it's 11 o'clock. Go to bed.
What about you, D? You're quiet. Did you have any imaginary friends?
Come on now. Don't roast me, people, but my imaginary friend was my future self.
Oh,
That's nice.
I love that.
So I just imagine me being where I want to be in life at that certain age. I just talk to that person in my head.
I
I don't
love
think
that.
a lot of kids think like that.
Mm-mm.
Because mine were like cartoon characters I saw on TV shows that I just wanted to be with me.
Aw.
But I do agree with what you said, because I was the only child up until 10. So, and even after 10, my sister was born. So a boy being 10 playing with a little girl
Right.
wasn't my thing. She was a baby, so I couldn't. There's not much a 10-year-old could do with a baby, a freshborn baby. So imaginary friends definitely got me through at least middle school. So I started playing real sports and stuff like that.
Can I ask y'all something? Did y'all have a name for your imaginary friends?
Because mine were based off cartoon characters, they were just the name of the
okay.
cartoon character.
I love that. What about you?
Which character?
It was your name? Mine was Memory.
Memory.
Mhm.
The name
Wow.
of it was Memory.
Her name was Memory, yep. And I always thought when I had kids, I was like, I'm gonna name her Memory. And I was like, girl, that's insane.
Do you
Don't you
remember when your imaginary friend like went away?
I do. When I actually like stepped out of my shell, and like you said, y'all don't roast me because shit, you gotta cope.
Hello.
But yeah, I think when I like started to establish my own friendships, and honestly, that took me until like ninth grade because my parents were extremely strict. We had like trauma in our household. My stepbrother passed away when I was 7 and he was 7. So that's part of the reason why my stepmother's children didn't live with us. So my dad kind of held on really tight just because of that tragic situation that happened. So I never was a kid who like went sleepovers and then I was an army brat. So we moved around a hell of a lot. So it was always new people, always new faces. Of course you don't know who you can trust. It's not like you live down the street from your cousin. So until I was able to like really establish my own friendships and like outside of my home and actually be able to engage in these friendships, I had my imaginary friend.
Did you guys ever like knowingly say like goodbye, or did it just fade out? Or did you have like a whole, it's time to let go with yourself?
For me, I just kind of was like, one day I was like, damn, me and Memory ain't talking in a minute. I'm like, what was she at?
So Memory ghosted you?
Yeah, Memory ghosted me.
Oh.
Wherever you're at now, Memory. I'm just like, joking.
What about you, B?
I still talk about,
That's awesome.
Well, yeah, your situation's different. So,
Yeah.
of course, you're always going to be imagining what your future should look like, what you want to look like.
I love that.
And what about you? You didn't do that imaginary friend thing, or did you?
Well, I can't say if I did or didn't.
Oh, you
I
don't
don't
remember.
remember.
See, I was hoping you did, because I had a theory that like, even though there's only 4 of us in this podcast, that younger siblings tend not to, because they have the older sibling to look up to, and we were only child to an extent, so it was like we did because we needed that friendship. And I was also gonna piggyback and say, for us 3 specifically, did you remember always being like independent and like being able to do things on your own, not necessarily you don't have to have a friend, like you kind of like, if I have a friend, cool, but I don't have to be around everybody all the time. Did that carry over into your adult life?
Absolutely.
Yeah, same.
Absolutely. Like
Same.
I didn't really have friends like that. And the friends I called, I just called them associates. Because I didn't really see them like that outside of school. It was cool because you're cool with people that you see every day, right? So they didn't really mentally put on like on a spiritual level. You know, 'cause when I speak to them, they didn't really correlate in their brain.
right.
I like to talk about religion, you know, stuff all that stuff is beyond. I speak to my that in detail. It's like, bro, what are you talking about? I kind of like distance myself, from them. It sucks, but it's like,
Right.
So now we could jump straight into the topic. So the topic of the week is that, and this I want everybody's open opinion, that out there people, the masses seem to think, and my family has a saying like the masses are the dumbasses. That's why it's the masses, because you don't always want to believe what everybody else is saying, but that in general, boys are taught how to treat a woman, but not what to expect from a woman. And girls are brought up what to expect from a man, but not how to treat a man. So all four of us, we all have different backgrounds, we all have different life stories, so we could come together. We could talk one at a time if y'all want. We could piggyback off each other, but I just want everybody's different perspectives. You don't have to tell everybody on the internet what your perspective is, but just everybody give their inputs.
wait, so we have to explain how someone should treat someone else in a relationship?
No, so if you can, but I was more so pointing towards, do you feel like in today or just in society period, like girls are taught how to treat him or what to expect from a man, but not necessarily how to treat him? Because it's like, oh, on TikTok there's a bunch of videos of like, I'm gonna give my daughter all this stuff now so she don't let some bum boy super off her feet with some minimal stuff. Versus guys were like, oh, here's how you're supposed to always be nice for the lady, hold the door for her, da da da. But it's not a lot of, here's what you should expect from the girl, it's just how you should treat her to make her happy. It's not a lot of dialogue about how she should treat you to make you happy. That's right. If you agree with that, that's what we're talking about. If you don't, you can say you don't, and then we can, yeah. So who wants to go forth? I feel like not because we made eye contact, but because you're the one that have like both parents in your household. Like I feel like you should do that, and then we can see the similarities between us.
I mean, I definitely see how society per se like pushes the idea of a woman should be treated a certain way, getting her flowers and chocolate and special treats and stuff like that, just to make her feel special. And vice versa for the guy, it's like not really focused on what you should do to make the guy feel happy. Um, Even from being raised up, society pressures the guy to just, like you said, open the doors and do everything you can, basically be at the beck and call of a woman, versus the woman is never really shown or taught what to do for that man. Um, in my experience, it's not as society says it is, simply for the fact that my parents have been together for 35 years, married for 30, so.
That's for y'all.
Yes, but my mom and dad have always shown both the love and respect for each other, and it's really exuded in the relationship. They didn't necessarily have to like tell my brother and I like this is what you should do. We saw it happen.
Like you had a visual example.
Exactly, and it's not just my dad getting my mom flowers or my dad doing something for my mom. My mom does stuff for my dad too, so it's definitely a reciprocal relationship in that aspect. But I do realize that not everyone grows up like that. Not everyone is able to witness that. So it is sad that that's like a stigma in society. Yeah.
Thank you for your input. Anybody have anything to say about what she said? And then we'll jump to the next.
I do, and I'm not going against what she said at all because I love that. I think that's amazing. I also feel like my dad wasn't a single father; he was married, and I was just happy to see my father happy. My mom got remarried too, so I was able to see it. It just wasn't with my actual two parents together. Also, my father was my primary parent. Like I said, we moved around a lot, so it was like very centralized. It was a lot of just us, him, me, my stepmom. And outside of it being an example, he also talked to me about things about like, this is how things should happen. Never put your hands on a man, never do these types of things. I feel like because he was a man raising a daughter, It wasn't always from the aspect of a man should give, give, give. It was also, this is what you should also bring to the table. And I hate that saying because men kind of use it in there. They go off with it nowadays. What do you bring to the table? But for sure, you should be able to provide your own lifestyle outside of a person because you never want, and my dad used to say this all the time. He used to say, don't let what a person brings to the table be all that you have to eat. And I would be like, why do you say that? Why do you say that? But when I became an adult, I got it. Like, if a person has all of the control, all of the power, and everything that you have is provided by them, they'll choose to starve you if that's what they decide to do. And you never want to think about that type of thing from a person, but you also have to think about it from a standpoint of you have to make sure you have your own back. Like, period. You have to have your own back. You have to have your own back in the standpoint of life, love, everything. You never want to be in a space where, God, if he leaves me, what am I going to do? That's a scary space to be in. And I would never want to be in that space with my children. And my dad taught me that.
Not to go off on a separate tangent from the topic, and I could be biased. D, if you feel this way, just give the camera a nod as I speak. But with things going on nowadays, I feel like guys tend to do the whole "what do you bring to the table?" because there's a lot of women out there. He needs to have this, he needs to have that. So he's already in the mindset of, here's what I bring off rip. So that way you can't say I'm a broke dude with no job, no car, no this. So it's like, I have the job, I have the place, I have the car. So it's already like we are, at least our age group is rewired to think like, okay, let me go ahead and tell you what I already have and put that chip on my shoulder because a lot of us think that that's what the girls are already, whether they say it outright or not. Like they're already, a lot of the city girl, that the whole era is like, what is F nigga, all that. It's like okay, so I feel like it's not just for me talking with my friends. Some of them are like that, and it also depends on the people you like, the people you attract, and the people that you are attracted to. Because some of them are not. But I feel like the younger than me generation is like definitely, because that's all you see all over social media, and like, oh, there's all these city, not just city. I don't want to bash the city girls, but all these female rappers are like, what is basically the songs like, guy can't do this, guy can't do that, but have sex and fly me out if you can't do it. You know, it's like, so guys are just quickly to defend themselves like, oh, I got the job, I got this, I got that.
And some women are vultures. So yeah, it makes you want to say, what are you bringing to the table? Because this is what I have to provide, and you don't want to feel. No one wants to feel used. No one wants to feel like they're the only person giving. Because I mean, at a point you can't pour from an empty cup. So I get it. I just feel like sometimes men go on a bit of a tangent. I don't feel like he went on a tangent at all. But we have some people out there, you give them a mic and a spotlight and they're just bashing, whether it be women. Same thing for women though. They bash men and men are bashing women. And it's just like, not everybody, it's not a one size fits all. Like, you can't just say that for everybody. So I get what you're saying and I get where you're coming from.
Do you want to go next or you want me to go? On your upbringing and
how I grew up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, my grandmother, shout out to my grandma, I love her to death. She's the one who raised me. Not saying my mom wasn't there, but I just chose to stay with her because she was there since birth. She was the one, telling me, hey, you're gonna make it, you're gonna survive, you're this and that. The connection with my grandma is just, it's unmatched. But also, that's not to degrade the connection with my mom too. Granted, she doesn't stay in state. Haven't seen her in a amount of time. So I hate to say, but the connection is kind of starting to fade more. But it's shout out to my grandma at the end of the day, but also shout out to my mom too. And also shout out to my pops for being there for my first breakup. The failed talking stages, failed all of that stuff, helping me really getting my mind straight on how to be a proper man after high school, how to get your right priorities straight. So shout out to, people who raised me.
I love that.
So, out of the three that you just mentioned, your mom, your grandma, and your dad, who do you think gave you the most advice or molding into the person you are today? And who really taught you how to treat a woman? And were you taught what to expect from a woman?
My grandmother, she taught me how to. Wait, she taught me the first part of your own question. The second part, I hate to say it, but I taught myself. From me being quiet, me being observant, and that's what I did throughout high school, and that's what I'm doing, working, seeing different ladies come in and out, starting strikes. When I'm out in public seeing people, kind of like take information from there, take a mental note, but also like I use that as like a way of, okay, how could I check all boxes for me, not for the other person, not saying that, okay, she wants this, this, and that. I'm gonna make sure I got me first. That's what I'm learning. And then do her, make sure she's straight. So that's what I'm learning right now. I hate to go in a little tangent, but I preach. I said last episode, I preach self-love. I'm gonna keep preaching that until people get that into their brains, until they start practicing that. Please love yourself before you love anyone else. You can't force someone to love you. You gotta love you. You gotta have that foundation within yourself. So when that person leaves, yeah, it's gonna hurt. But also you gotta be like, okay, cool. I'm gonna let it hurt for a little bit, but I'm not gonna let it dwell on me. I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna get back to what I need to do.
Watch your footsteps.
I love that.
Nice. Thank you. I had a question. I forgot it. It was about something. So maybe as I tell my part, it'll spark it. But my perspective, I have a interesting story because I was raised by my mom, but she got married when I was 10, and then divorce was finalized when I was 16. So I did get to see my mom's also if you know me, I'm mixed. My mom's also the African side. So the African side, they're very almost very similar to the military side, not in terms of a schedule, but just in terms of structure. And my mom's very, very blunt. So just to give you a quick, my mom's always told me get a job that's gonna pay the bills, not a job that's for fun. You can go have fun when the bills are paid. She's just very realistic, stuff like that. So I was actually talking to my sister a while ago, and she was I was just checking on them because they live in Timbuktu. Well, we live in Timbuktu, so they live all the way, almost 2 hours away. And she was like, hey, she asked me a question. She's like, hey, how come the mom and dad getting a divorce doesn't seem to hit you as hard as it hit me? And then I never answer questions like that right away. I like to process it. I'll tell you, and let me table it and come back. Took a day, came back, and I was like, I think it hits me different because for me, that was just 6 years of my life, from 10 to 16. For you, that's all you knew. You were born with mom and dad, and then you had to deal with their divorce, and now you're doing weekend visitations, however that works. Me is I had 10 years, and then I met, we met. So let's just say 8 years, because met him for a while. They started dating, how all that goes. And then they got married, and then the divorce happened. So it was me being 27, taking 8 years out, I'm still 19. So it's that's 19 years out. I'm not used to that. So it was easy for me to jump in and jump out and get out almost unscathed. But that's all she knows. So it's for her, it's whoa, my whole world is upside down. I don't understand this. I don't understand. To me, it's I guess. But based on how I was raised, my mom she was definitely one of the ones I was hey, these girls are out here, don't fall for the batting of the eyelash and all that other stuff. But it wasn't a lot of how to keep a woman. It was what to watch out for to make sure they're not tricking you. So it doesn't really go with the prompt, but it's my mom's always been hey, these girls are out here, always they'll trap you, don't, just don't fall for anything. And then, but and granted, I never asked, but you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
So it's like I didn't know to ask her. Well, how am I supposed to treat her? So she just always told me like the signs to look for. I did have a question for you, Kiara and Mar.
What? Because you said I was gonna remember. Like I don't remember.
I know it. I'm sorry.
If you try, I'll do better. I'm not gonna do better.
I forgot. I just kidding. I did have a question. I'm just gonna say I have a question for you.
Okay.
So, when you were talking about the strictness, like, was there anything else that was strict besides like the schedule?
Mm-hmm.
Was there anything else that was like, with you being raised primarily by your dad? Do you feel like it was like the whole, you know how fathers are usually more strict on their daughters and they're like, oh, you can't do this, this, and this.
Oh, yeah.
Do you feel like it would have been different if you had a brother in the household, or do you feel like because of the military, he would have been blanket statement? If she can't do it, you can't do it.
I feel like it was very different for me because I did have a stepbrother, but he was a lot older. So like we had a moment where he lived with us, but then he went off to college. So my stepbrother was allowed. I mean, we lived in Oklahoma, in Fort Lawton. And I remember him being able to go to the mall and he did all of the things. And then it was moments where I was like, Dad, I want to do that. And he's like, when you're 16, and I was like maybe 8 at the time. And he's like, when you're 16, you get to do it. So then I turned 16. Of course, I remember this. So we were in Houston. I think I'm about to go to the movies. I'm like, yeah. So, I'm gonna go to the movies because you said now that I'm 16. You said that Javaris got to do it. So when I was 16, I get to do it. So I'm gonna go to the movies, and can you drop me off? And he said, yeah. Like he had these tricky ways of parenting. Like he tried to give me space, but I feel like he always kind of was like, oh my God, my baby girl. So like I remember sitting in the movie theater with my friends, and this boy I liked, he came in, and I was like snickering with my friends. I was like, oh my God, look at him. And I heard from like 5 levels up. So I looked up, and there was Bruce. Bruce was sitting up at the top, and he was like, just want to let you know I'm up in here. So he did things where he quote unquote allowed me to have a life, but he was a lot more strict as far as my whereabouts and the things that he allowed me to do, the company that I was allowed to keep. I remember having friends, like, because of course I wasn't as experienced in making friends, therefore I was not going to always choose the best ones. He would vet my friends, like, oh no, she's not a good girl. Like, you cannot hang out with her. I remember having a cell phone at 15, and my dad heard me talking on the phone with a boy, and he turned the phone off. Now that's some dedication, y'all, because Singular back in the day used to have to pay like $400 to get that line closed. He didn't care. He's gonna pay the money. He closed the line down, like super strict. Yes, Singular, but he was super strict, and I feel like it didn't make a difference that I feel like it did make a difference. Excuse me. It definitely made a difference between the fact that I was a female and my brother was a male. And also, my brother wasn't his biological child. I don't think that changed how he loved him, but it definitely changed how he parented him, because there's only so much, so far you can go with your stepchild. You don't want to overstep your bounds as their step parent. But with me, it was very much so, this is what I said, this is what I meant, and this is what you're going to do. And if you don't, there are consequences. I didn't get my car till I was 18. Like, he was strict because he was really, and then he had a low jack on my car.
Did you want a car before that?
Absolutely. I was in Houston. I mean, I-10 is one of the biggest freeways in the world. Like, I was trying to explore. I was in my exploratory age. I wanted to see new things and experience new things. And he just was not having it. And I feel like that was a disservice to me as well.
Do you feel like, in terms of, like you said at the end, where it was a hindrance and your dad was a couple floors up, letting you know, like, hey, don't do nothing crazy because I am right here, and cutting off the phone. With you and your boys, as they get older, do you feel like, and this is a question for everybody, mostly you because you're in the situation right now, but for you guys, what you think you will do in the future, do you feel like you're the type of parent to give space to grow, or the type of parent to, I don't want to give you like an A, B, C, D, but what's your parenting style in terms of, like, once they get to that 17, 18-year-old where they're like, okay, let me go experience, because they're going to want to, it's natural. 18 years old, you're going to be like, okay, let me go see what's out there. What do you think your parenting style is or would be?
My sons are 5 and 11, and I feel like so far I've been in the parenting phase. Like, um, Bryson is my oldest, and I feel like 12, 13 on up, I feel like that's his lesson stage. I'm no longer parenting him, I'm guiding him. I want him to be able to make the mistakes in our household so that he can learn from his mistakes and not go out here into this cruel world as a black man and have to figure it out the hard way. For me, that's how I plan to parent. That's how, I mean, Bruce is gonna come up out of me, period. Like, I am who my father made me. What my plan is what my plan is to do is to guide my children. I really want to make sure that they're okay and they're able to experience life, because I feel like when you don't experience life in your parents' home, you have to learn things the hard way, and it makes life just a lot more harder, and I don't want that for my children, to have to bump their head and there's nobody there to like give them a hand to lift them up or put a band-aid on it or do what they got to do to fix it. You can't do that as an adult. You go out there, you make a money decision, and now you have fucked up credit. You go out there, you do something crazy, you don't pay your bills on time, now you have a right, no lights and this, or you're hungry. And I don't want that for my babies. I never want them to be, and I know they're gonna have to experience life, but as much as you can, all the life you can experience with me, let's experience with me and daddy first.
Honestly, I want to model after my parents in a way. They did an excellent job raising my brother and I. Of course, I'm gonna do some things different. I'm gonna take the best of what they did and try to add on to it. Um, I don't really know what else to say to that because we don't have kids yet. But I do know that I eventually want to get to the stage where my children are open enough and comfortable enough to come to me for advice and tell me about the things and not fear getting in trouble. I want them to have that open door, um, like kind of like a friendship, but still with that respect level, similar to where we are now with my parents.
Hmm, I love that. You're gonna be a good mom.
Oh, thanks.
You are.
My heart just smiled.
Uh, I mean, well, first I gotta grow up first. For me to
Yeah.
even think about kids, I gotta experience my 20s first. So, but how I would model it after what I observed. Wow, I would model it after like what I see in like different parenting. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I would treat my kids like the way you want to be treated.
Yeah.
So, like, hey, you need me, I'm here. I'm your pops, I'm your father. Just talk to me. I don't want them to hesitate, saying like, oh, should I tell dad this? Like, no, just tell me, like, tell me straight up. Same thing. That's just for like, doesn't matter if I have a boy or girl, like both. I'll just hey, just talk to me. Don't have to hold your insecurities and just tell me like what's wrong.
I think as much as I've talked about the way I was brought up off this camera, I would probably there's certain parts of my mom more than I would as I'm getting older that I think I actually will keep just tweak it. Like for instance, the for the sake of the question, my mom was my mom was strict, but when it came to growth, it was I'm only gonna tell you once. Like even I think around like 8, like hey, that oven top, don't touch it. If you want to go touch it, that's on you, but don't cry in her face saying ow it hurts because she's gonna turn around and be like, didn't I just tell you it was hot? So what did you expect? Like that's just how my mom's always been. So I'm not necessarily gonna do that. Like, I will still watch it, but in terms of as they get older to that 18, 17-year-old age, like, hey, here's what's out there. Here's what could happen. Here's what might happen. But in terms of everybody's experience is different. What I'm not gonna sit here and say, don't do this because when I was your age, this happened to me because it could happen. The same thing could happen there to be a whole different outcome. In terms of like, it might work. It might not have worked for me. It wasn't supposed to work for me, but it might work for you. Now, dumb is just dumb.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like experiencing life and like you can sit here and be like, oh, yeah, you're not gonna go out of state for college because when you go to college, you're just gonna do this and just if the money's there and you make it in that school, go explore and all that. But hopefully by that point, like you said, we're in the guiding phase. So hopefully we have guided them to the point where it's like we're just comfortable. We're not at that point yet. This is a mini hot take. This is not my hot take, but I think the parents that are overbearing when the kids get to that 18-year-old age, it's almost like a reflection of what you saw in the parenting stage. Like, not necessarily a failure versus successful, but it's like because some kids are just out there, you gotta give them a little bit more loving. But the kids, when they get to that age, I feel like the nervousness of a parent is always gonna be there. But it's like that overbearing, like, oh, you can't do it. It's like, well, is there something that you feel like, and it's hindsight because you can't go back, but it's just something that you feel like should have been fixed earlier that you're seeing your kid now that could hurt them when they get out in the world? Because like you said, the real world, if like when my mom used to yell at us and stuff, my mom would be like, you better take it because this is how I'm saying it to you, and this is coming from love. So people out there that don't give a shit about you, don't love you, not blood related to you, they're gonna say it way worse, if you can imagine that. And in the moment, of course, it was like, oh yeah, but then when I actually would sit back and think, I was like, if this is bad, what is worse gonna look like? So I actually started wising up and all the other stuff. But the next subject, in terms of punishment, do you feel like punishment is different between son and daughter? Do you feel like it should be the same? Not necessarily, because I know some dads are like straight up punch their son in the chest. Obviously, don't. Yeah, like not like 8, 11, but like 16-year-old, like because it's almost like a rite of passage. The 16-year-old to get the growth spurt, the voice starts deepening, they think they're hot shit. So the dad has, it's almost like that little tango of like, I'm a man, and the dad has to do this. So it's like, I didn't mean the literal sense of punch him in the chest, but it's like some dads are like my uncle, when he spent a couple years with us, instead of whooping and yelling, if I did anything stupid, he made me hold a cinder block over my head. So he said, stop. And it wasn't like he wouldn't lecture me. He wouldn't say that's bad. If I just knew that whatever I just did, if it's cinder block time, don't do that again, because the cinder block at that age or any age is not light. So it's like, do you feel like punishments should be the same? Should be different, tailored to the kid, tailored to the gender? How do y'all?
I wouldn't say tailored to the gender. I would say tailored to the kid, because what works for one kid might not work for the other. For instance, one kid could lose their worlds if you take their electronics away. Another might not care. So the point wouldn't get across to that child. So you may have to alter your punishments based off of what will reach the child.
Yep. Oh, I agree with what she said wholeheartedly.
Yeah, I would definitely too. If he's into video games, come back home from school, that junk is gone. If he watches TV a lot, I'll take my time out of my day to knock the TV off. Yeah.
Dang, you'll take it off the wall.
Yeah.
I love your dedication.
Right.
For if I have a girl, she likes Barbies. Her playhouse will be out of there. You know, just electronics, her phone. I'm gonna take away her charger so her phone will die. So
You just have a parent that's gonna take away all her earring backs.
If there's one thing about the kid, if she wants to find a charger bad enough, she'll find one.
She'll find a charger.
Yeah, you'll find one.
You sound like my dad, though. My dad used to come up with creative ass ways. I wouldn't clean my room one time, so he told me I had to move out of my room. He told me I was evicted. And he bought me a sleeping bag, and he told me I had to sleep in the bonus room. It was like on the other side of the house above the garage. It was like this, like, you know, little sitting area. And he's like, you have to live in there now because you got evicted from your space because you won't clean it. So I had to sleep in a sleeping bag.
Oh.
Really? I thought my parents were crazy.
Wow.
Yeah, my dad too. He's very dedicated. One time I got in trouble and I thought he was playing. He was like, "Your summer's gone," and I stayed in the house the whole summer. When I got back to school that year, I was like, "Damn, T, I thought you died." I ain't get to go outside, no nothing, no phone, no social media, no MySpace, no nothing.
Oh my gosh.
Man,
I don't think I've ever gotten in trouble that bad, but the worst time that I've gotten in trouble, I don't remember what I did, but I do remember my punishment was that I had to call my mom by her first name because I wasn't acting like her daughter. And I cried. I'm about to cry right now.
That's so sweet.
I was like, Mom, I love you.
Oh,
yeah, literally tearing up.
Oh. See, I'm gonna do that. I like that because I'm not trying to like physically hurt my children. Oh, but you do something crazy.
Pain?
It's the worst.
I'm sorry. I don't want to interrupt your thought. I low-key don't want to be the type of parent that whoops the children, only because I don't want to teach them, because they, in the child stage, they rely on us for everything. And I don't want to teach them that the person that you rely on or the person that you're supposed to look up to is going to beat you the moment that you do something wrong. I don't want to beat the kids at all. But if we have to, it needs to be even, because if it's just one parent, then that parent is going to be resented by the children. And that's not fair to that parent.
Will they? What if, okay, let's say it's you. Oh, okay, even though, depending on who you talk to, it's not the same. Depending on who you talk to, it is the same. But we have a dog. And his first puppy stage, now, okay, use your guidance. We are now in the guiding stage. Like all the hard training and all of that was done when he was potty training and leash walking and all that other stuff. And now every now and then we just have to correct. Like we're not teaching him how to do tricks anymore. We're just correcting the little small mishaps. But back then, if you remember, he used to always run to you because I was the one training and I always be the one. He'd want to run out the cab, like stop, and I would wait for him to. He'd have to wait for me to release him, the door manners and all that. And he literally would not come around me because he was like, this guy's just not he's not giving me the love that I wanted as a puppy. Now that he's older, he comes wherever, whenever. So, and I feel like, well, this is where I get to the point where like it's not a child, it's a dog. But it's like because you back me. Like before, we've had these talks where like it'll be me training. I'm like, you know, you got to reinforce my training, or else it literally just undid everything I did this last week. Now that you're reinforcing it in this house, it's like it's kind of like, okay, it's, either way, I'm not gonna be able to run out the cage whenever I want to, no matter who it is out of the three of us. So it's like if the other person truly has their back, yes, you might be the one punishing it. And it's like, oh, mommy hit me, da da da. But like, did you do that? Well, something mommy told you not to do? Yes. Then mommy felt like she did what she had to do. If I back you, might have been the one to actually do it. But as long as I'm not like, oh yeah, mom's tripping, I'll talk to her. You know, not having your back behind closed doors. I feel like it should be the same in terms of not like whooping, you doing the whooping every single time, maybe not. But as long as we have each other's back, it should be like okay, so it's not a mom versus dad, it's mom and dad, and then versus the problem, which is you at the moment. The next segment, which is called Moral Dilemma. So I have two different scenarios for you. They are morally challenging scenarios, and we're just going to talk it through like we've been doing. And there's no right or wrong answers. There's no judgment on the Squabble podcast. It's literally in our motto: keep your minds open and your volumes turned up. So we're just going to talk it through, and we'll just see where we go. So the first dilemma is, would you rather have to kill 5 strangers or 1 person you know? And you have to pick one.
One I know.
What?
Dang it.
It would be someone I don't like.
Okay.
I know someone I don't like.
Yeah, that's fair.
You know, when you put it in that perspective, like I know some pretty shitty people, so yeah, I would much, because you don't know those 5 strangers lives.
The original question was, I just changed that last week. The original question was 5 strangers or one in your family.
5 strangers hands down. You gotta go. But then again, I have some shitty family members, so I don't know these 5 people, and I don't want to ruin their lives. I'll just take out the one in my family members that gotta go.
sorry, not sorry.
That goes twofold though, because if that's the case, then those 5 people, that like spreads out and has its own tree. I still would do the one. 5 people is a lot of lives.
And do the one.
The second moral dilemma: would you rather the people with your family, and that includes friends, blood related, non blood, anybody that you consider close enough in your inner circle, would you rather everybody think you're a bad person, but you're really a good person? Or everybody think that you're a great person, but you're really a shitty person? Before you answer, this stems from a series we've been watching, or it's a movie, but it's a movie series, Harry Potter. And have you watched Harry Potter before?
I just watched all 8 movies, y'all. Shout out to Tawana.
So in the book and in the movie, the last 40 minutes of the last movie, when Snape dies, spoiler alert if you haven't watched Harry Potter,
About to say.
yeah,
Okay,
so
pause.
Years.
I just watched it. Relax.
No, I'm saying like this isn't really a spoiler because it's been out.
Oh,
So,
okay.
yeah. But the last 40 minutes, when Snape dies and Harry takes his memories from his tears or whatever, he looks back and he realizes the whole series, us as viewers and readers, if you're reading the book, because it's through the perspective of Harry Potter, we don't like Snape because Harry doesn't like Snape, and he idolizes Dumbledore we idolize Dumbledore because he idolized Dumbledore. But then you realize when he goes to the flashback, Snape's had his back the whole time, and Dumbledore, he didn't do anything to harm him, but he really wasn't for him like he thought. And to me, I love that. Not that he had that happened to him, but I just love that to think when I think about it, like Snape really put that burden on his back. Like he knew people hated him for whatever his past and this and that, but he really wasn't a bad guy. Like he saved Harry so many times. And Dumbledore, he didn't put him in harm, but he wasn't really for him.
Right.
So that's where that question stemmed from. Like, could you deal with your close circle not messing with you, but you know internally you're a good person? Or everybody thinks you're a great person, but you know like you're not really that great of a person?
I would much rather people think I'm awful and I be a good person.
Same. Same.
Low key, because of how close I am with my family, I couldn't bear them not thinking.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So I would go with the other option.
I was thinking that. I thought you were going to answer that because you're very close with the people you consider close. Like,
yeah.
So it's like for them to sit there and think negatively of you.
Yeah. Because then that would mean that they're not going to spend time with me. So I'm just alone. No, I couldn't survive.
Yeah.
Take me now, Lord.
I still pick the first one. I can deal with it morally. Just because you don't want to be around me, I can morally be like, I know I still did a good thing. Versus you're smiling in my face and
hate me.
You don't even know that I
cried,
you know what I mean?
Because my mom made me call her Angela instead of mommy.
No, I'm not trying to change your answer. I'm just giving my answer. I understand why you said what you said, but that's the
You still
more.
feel a way about that. I'm gonna have to talk to Angela when I.
No, she's good. She's good. She taught me a lesson. I never did it again.
No. I'm not saying it from a bad standpoint. I'm just like, girl, where did you come up with that and give me more ideas because it hurt her. Bless her heart, she'll never do that again. You were still crying. You bless your heart.
You saw me tear up earlier?
Yes. Sorry.
You're good. And then D has the would you rather of the week.
So the would you rather of the week. Would you rather work more hours in the day and have longer weekends, or shorter work hours but more work days?
More hours in the day. More
Longer weekends.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I'll work 12 hours if you give me a good 4-day weekend every week.
Hello.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, absolutely.
But I get where, and I'm not trying to change your answer, but I choose the other one because yes, you get the long stint of 3 days, but if I get shorter work hours, I get to come home more or sooner, and I get to enjoy the day-to-day interactions with y'all versus 3 days out of the week I get you, and then 4 days we barely see. Like I'm waking up, you're going to sleep. You're depending on the schedule.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, if you think about it though, I already leave the house. I'm not gonna give you all that information. I'm out of the house for 11 hours a day. Am I right? So if I do that 11 hours for 4 days a week versus the 5 days that I'm doing it, I still get my 40 hours. That's actually 44 hours. But let's say I have a work from home job. I'm still here. So I still get my hours. I get to see you guys, and I get 3 days instead of 2 days.
Yeah, and I never meant that I was actually going to be going anywhere. I was going to be working from home those
Oh, okay.
12 hours. That was happening in my mind.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. When you break it down like that, I mean, it's only 24 hours a day. It's just, to me, it's cool to have, like, because you could plan a trip like that. Oh, I know I have a 3-day weekend. Let it be Labor Day. That's
Yeah.
really, or something like that. I could plan something. We can go have fun. Those are the planned happy moments. But the day-to-days of just coming home and thinking in the future now, like the homework help and the like missing the smaller moments. Like I get to come home at 2 p.m. instead of 5 every day, and I get to catch you off the bus, stuff like that.
Aw,
Like
yeah.
the day-to-day stuff that you'll be missing if you didn't do it.
Yeah.
It's like both of them are cool because you could either one. Nobody's wrong, but I'd rather catch you off the bus
I miss
and
that.
do all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss getting my kids off the bus. It definitely makes a difference.
Well, hopefully we'll be at the stage where we're making passive income and don't have to do a 9 to 5, punch somebody
Hallelujah.
else's clock by the time we have kids.
Hallelujah. I wish that for you guys, just because being able to have that flexibility and you know, it really makes all the difference when raising your children. My husband and I, like, we work our asses off, but it also comes with having to find trustworthy people to put in place of us to get our kids off of the bus and to help them with homework and things of that nature. And that's always stressful because you can find the trustworthy people, but you don't want anybody else raising your children. You want to do it. So I really, fingers crossed. I know that's going to happen for you guys. Many blessings, and give a girl a job because I need to do the same for my kids.
Hello.
D, what's your answer, sir? What's your answer to the would you rather?
Oh crap! I'm not gonna have a zone out, but I would definitely want to work. I wouldn't say I'm all about the money. I mean, for an 18-year-old, yeah, but I would want to work more hours and then have less time to eat. Just pack the bread. That's just the mindset I have now. Maybe different when I'm 30, 40s.
All right. And I do remember what I was trying to remember earlier, so I can do the editing magic and all that. Oh, am I about to lose it again? Oh crap! But it was the question of back to parenting, of course. Do you guys think that if you guys could go back, whether it be time machine, magic, in this imaginary world where you can go back and give your parental person, your guardian, one piece of advice about raising you and the person you are now, what would it be? But before you answer and before the wheels start spinning, keep in mind that whatever, just like in all the movies, whatever you tell them could change how you are right now. So I'll give y'all however much time you need, but
I know what my answer is already.
okay.
It will be to let me live, let me experience things, and that I needed that time to become who I needed to become without, growing up and being an adult and making those mistakes. So yeah, Bruce.
That's the other thing. There was 2 times I almost forgot. So while y'all were thinking, the other thing was, my mom used to always tell me, like I said, she would take things away, not things physical, but like you can't go to soccer practice. And, actually, my mom had like a little. This is a one for your book if you want. For like Christmas, if I had bad grades, she'd get me at the time. PlayStation 2 was a big thing. She'd get it for me, let me play for a week so I can know what it feels like to have that thing, and then take it away. Because just looking at it is like, oh, I wish I had it, but she would let me have that joy of, and it got to the point where it was a routine. Like I knew day 7, when I woke up day 8, it was gonna be gone, but I still enjoyed it, and it hurt even. Obviously, I wouldn't know the other side, but I feel like it hurt even more because I got that joy of playing the new game of the moment, and then waking up the next day knowing like that's gone. It's just crazy. But My mom used to tell me like her reasoning for backing off on me as I got older is because she was like, the mistakes you make, the older you get, are gonna be harder and harder to reverse. So I was on you back when it was easy to reverse, hoping that you would change it. But as you get older, not only can I not bail you out anymore, but now you have to live with it, and it's gonna be harder to reverse. So I do feel like, in my perspective specifically, my advice would be open up more to me and my siblings, because I've told you off camera, like, my siblings and I being around your family was not a culture shock, but just a shock, because we don't have that on our end. So it was like, and my sister was coming to me, she's like, they're like that every time, like every single time. They do the hugs and all that every single time. We're just not that, like, we're just not that family. So it's like, open up more, and not necessarily be the friend, but like, don't be in parent mode all the time, if that makes sense. Obviously, you're always gonna be a parent, but like, sometimes, like, live in the moment and let us be the kid that, you know what I mean? Like, Cat Williams said a funny joke in one of his comedy specials. He was like, stop whooping your kids. Your baby's 3 years old. They're supposed to walk in the store and want Skittles. Don't whoop them because they're asking for Skittles. Be like, just no. You know what I mean? So like, not saying my mom did that, but it was like, we go in there and she would always do, don't touch nothing. If you don't have money to pay for nothing. That's obvious. When we go in there and we're like, oh, you see the new Cinnamon Toast Crunch box. I'm like, oh, mommy. And she berates us. I'm like, looking back, I'm like, I was 8 years old. You know what I mean? Like, you took me in a store full of colorful things I've never experienced before. Like, I'm just supposed to just sit here and like a robot and just wait for you, to interact with me. Like, I'm gonna want to experience. So my thing is to just open up more, and we'll see. We'll never know, but I'm very curious to see how like that Dahamo would have turned out, and that Ruby and that Johan would have turned out.
Yeah.
If things would be different.
I feel like for me, like hearing you say that, I saw something on TikTok like maybe a couple of years ago, and it was like how she was changing childhood traumas. And she said that every time her daughter goes in the store, she allows her daughter to get something. And I never was like the mom who was like berating them, but I'm always in a hurry. Always got to get here, got to get home, got to go to work. You got to send this email. But now, maybe if everybody gets one thing. If you want your one thing to be these new Cinnamon Toast Crunch, then that's what you're getting. So I love that for you. When you have kids, do that for your kids, because you remember how it made you feel, and it's not, dogging your mom, because I'm pretty sure it was the exact same way for her. We have a busy life. You have multiple children. You have a job. You have a household to maintain. You have a lot going on. Just take the time out. Listen, get one thing. Everybody gets one thing up in here, whatever that is. Change it and make, because you'll see so much joy in your baby's faces. My kids get so excited. They think we're rich, and all I bought was a new thing of cereal. They think we're rich for real.
I love that.
We did see something a year ago. I know it was a year ago. It was before we moved in together, and it was a mom. She was saying like, whenever she tells her kids no, if they can come with a structural explanation of why they should, she lets them do it. And she's like, before y'all get me in the comments, not because I want them to be able to argue, I want them to be able to critically think and come up to me and be like, Mom, here's why I think I should. Not because it's belittling her as a mom, but she wants them to be able to defend themselves in public. And like, so
I love that.
I did like that, yeah. Maybe not every single thing. Sometimes when I say no, no is no. Yeah. But I would at least like to know, like, why do you think you should? And it'll still be no.
Yeah.
But, yeah, that's be great.
For me, I would tell my parents to push me more. They never had to push me like in the educational sense, because I was a good student, always doing homework or whatever. But as far as like getting out there, making friends, not just having one friend throughout all grade school. As far as not being a recluse in my room after I graduated. As far as like pushing myself to go above and beyond. As far as my schooling, I did of course go to college, but I had a scholarship where I could have went up to my doctorate degree for free, and I chose not to. Granted, that wasn't my decision, and I appreciate my parents for respecting my decision, but who knows who I could have been if I didn't go and get my doctorate,
I have a question about that. Do you think maybe they didn't push at that point because when you graduate like 22 ish, 21, so it's like, oh yeah, because your birthday's in the summer. So, um, do you think maybe they're like, well, she's 21. We might bring it up lightly in the conversation, but like the pushing is done. Like you're now an adult. Like if you've already voiced, mom and dad, I'm not going. I'm done with school. They're like, okay. Granted, they could have been like, oh, there's free money out there, might as well. But in terms of like pushing you in that aspect, it's like, well, how much pushing? Because I didn't know 21-year-old Brittany, but and I don't think you would do this as 27, 26-year-old Brittany, but as, if they were to push to a certain extent, then you could have gone the whole route. Well, I'm an adult now. Don't be telling me what to do, not respectfully, but like don't be telling me what to do. Like if I say I don't want to go, I don't want to go, because you just graduated on your proverbial high horse. So it's like, I feel like that was a good answer. D, do you have any advice for?
Tell him to get out of his room and get out there and be social. Mostly it. Just talk to people. Don't try to be all antisocial. I understand you're introverted, I get that. But in this world, you have to communicate to get what you need. So, just talk more. Build better communication. So you have a clear understanding of how to operate in this world.
I do have a question for you. And this part, after this topic, you can tell me if you don't want it to be in the podcast or not. But you actually had a luxury, if I remember correctly, that a lot of kids don't have. You got to choose. Looking back, not for better or for worse or anything like that, but do you ever think about or do you ever question like, should I have chose to go stay with my mom instead of my grandma? Not do you think it would have been better, but do you just ever think like, how would I have turned out if I had chose A instead of B?
I think I would have been mentally, if I would have chose staying with my mom in out of state, I would have probably been in like a little, I would have been probably crazy. I would have not been able to mentally operate staying with them. That's not degrading on what my mom, stepdad, and brother, sister have. It's like the way that they parent them. They have phones. Not what my brother has a phone now, but back then they didn't have a phone. They didn't have this. So I wouldn't have been able to experience them. I've been more. Yeah, I'm so antisocial now. Imagine me coming back to Georgia. I'm not saying the words anymore. So I'm not used to people saying, hey, what's your name, such and such like that. So I think I made the right decision. That was like one of my first, I wouldn't say right decision, but
that was a
life decision.
That was your first ever.
That was like one of my first life decisions at the age of.
I don't want to discount what you're saying, but when you say that they didn't have phones until recently and you wouldn't be able to survive like that, that's how we survived. We didn't have phones until high school. Some people didn't have phones until college, and we were still able to communicate and get around. I mean, I understand you're Gen Z, so you guys expect phones.
That's his
like
norm.
Yeah. So I get it, but I don't know. It's interesting.
Do you feel like maybe if you didn't have the phone, the crutch? Because I feel like a lot of people your age, they are antisocial because they can have those interactions online rather than having to go out and actually have them in person with people. Do you feel like if you would have been in that situation, you would have been more inclined to get to know people?
Either way, even with the phone, I still didn't talk to people.
Gotcha.
So even now, I don't. Someone can hit me up and say, "Hey, how do I respond to this?" So, boy or girl.
Yeah.
I do have a side story about just what you said about the phones. I think so. Back then, asked my mom to go to said place. She says no. Oh darn, probably throw a little tantrum, but I understood no means no. my sister Ruby, if she gets told no, or I don't understand, make it make sense, and I think it's because everything, I might be looking too much into it, but everything's just so in the now of the phone. So it's like, if you want to look up anything, everything is just a finger.
Instant gratification.
Yeah. So it's like, I think that translates into the questioning of like, granted, it got to a point where at first it was a point of like, oh, okay, I'm glad she's questioning things. She's not just going with the flow. But then when it crosses over to parents, it's like, I always understood like it sucks that you got to know, but like mom said no, no is no, and you just gotta take that L. But demanding, I won't say demanding, but insisting on an explanation of why it's no, and you telling my mom that it has to like make it make sense to me. Oh, she doesn't have to do that. Like if mom says no, no is no. It is what it is. And it's not just my sister. I've seen kids in that age group just, no, why? What do you like? What do you
The because I said so does not exist.
Oh no, it doesn't.
Yeah, 9, they're like,
no.
I don't get. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, Miss Kimari Mar, I would like to thank you so much for joining us today on our podcast. It was a wonderful time to have you. We truly appreciate all of your insight.
Thank you.
Guys.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank y'all for having me. Thank you.
Being
Thank
our
you.
first ever guest.
Yes.
Definitely won't be the last time.
Awesome. Thank y'all for having me. I had so much fun.
For those that have reached out saying you want to be a guest, I've started reaching out to some of you because some of you specifically, I have great topics that I would like to speak with you with. And if I haven't reached out to you yet, don't worry, it is coming. I have not forgotten about you.
All right. Don't forget, you guys, keep your minds open and your volumes up.
I'm insane.
All right. Thank you, Squabblers, for tuning back in. That is not the right thing I'm supposed to say because I just said we're not doing that. Understood. All right, Miss Kimari, Lord.
He's looking like this crazy ass name.
Well, Miss Kimari Moore, I would like to thank you so much for coming and joining us. Why do you look like that?
You said it wrong. Yeah.
I did?
It's okay.
No, I said more. I said more?
It's okay. That's fine.
Oh shit, my bad.
It's unnatural to you, so it's okay.
Job.
Damn it. You guys need to do it a little slower. Because you're catching me off guard. I'm already nervous. Okay, I'm sorry. Bleep all this shit, okay? All of it.